we have here in the Somnium Space Metaverse. And let's welcome all the people here. I think usually some people come late, so we will have an even bigger audience than this probably. And most important thing today is let's welcome Future Surfer, Johnny Kaplan. He's the artist that created these wonderful digital artworks, and he will tell us all about them, all about himself. And at the end, there will be space for some questions if you have. So feel free to prepare your questions. You can use either the text chat in the left-hand side. Just click it there and type your question, and or you can use just the voice, which is on the top right-hand side. Just you will click the microphone button, and it should work. If you have multiple microphones, you might need to set it up in the this like gear button and select your particular microphone, and it should work. One thing for you to know is very important. This has spatial sound. It means that if you go too far, you will not able to hear us, which would be shame. And it's also a little bit tricky because it actually considers location of your camera. So if you zoom too far out, then even if you would be standing next to the person, you wouldn't be able to hear them. So it's a little bit tricky. Well, it's sort of a game of can you hear me? So just be careful about that, so you can hear me and mainly Future Surfer what he's talking about, because you could miss a lot. So that's about technical stuff. Now, when we are starting, I think most of you are in mute mode, which is perfect. So for the exhibition, please remain in the mute so we don't get background noise. We are recording this, so it's also for the viewers outside. And at the end, you will be able to talk and have a discussions and even some sort of networking. If you want to show yourself how you look, you can use your camera as gentleman and a tech.
That's so cool. That's so cool. That's ridiculous. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is so cool.
Yeah, so feel free to do that. Yeah, I have a lot of mess here, and no one is interested how I look anyway, so I will not do that. But other guys, feel free to do that. Just next to the microphone button is video button. Click it, and you have it easy enough. So that's it for the technical stuff. I don't see anyone complaining about anything, so hopefully everyone is up with the tech and is able to hear us. And let's invite our artist, Future Surfer, to tell us a little bit about himself, how he got here. First, let's talk a little bit about his life, which I know is like really interesting, and he has a lot to say. He's not just artist; he's doing a lot of other stuff. But let him talk for a second.
Thank you so much, Artifik. And yes, we know about those audio problems because we had them last time, right? It took us a while to hear each other. Just be careful, guys, not to scroll on your mouse far away, because then all of a sudden you won't know what's going on and you have to come back again. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. My name is Johnny Kaplan. My handle is Future Surfer. I've been an artist since I was a child, very, very much a part of who I am, art, design, and innovation. I studied art and design foundation at university. I grew up in London, went to University of Manchester. And actually, I just want to tell you, when the first year on the planet, I had a really quite a crazy accident. I poured boiling hot water over myself, being very inquisitive. And, like very early on in my life, I realized that, life is full of hardships and all sorts of things. And I struggled with second-degree burns. And it really made me into a compassionate, understanding, but very, very driven person and very resilient. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I did and how I got here and what's the concept behind my art. So actually, I started my first business at 14. I won an award from the Duke of Edinburgh, who's the Queen's husband, at school, because I was very entrepreneurial, and it spurred me to go out and innovate and to build things. Art and design and creativity were a core of everything I do, and I'm very pedantic on clean lines. That's why I studied architecture. And actually, I went to have a series of different companies. And my first company was a graphic design and web design company about 1999, 2000, right at the start of the web interest and evolution. And I took everything I knew from art and design and I put it onto a computer and I put it into technology and I put it into innovation. And I saw how you can evolve your design and your creativity to not just be paint on a canvas or charcoals or chalks or whatever your medium is, but you can actually advance that. And the internet really, really changed my destiny and everything I did over the last 20 years based on the fact that I could then create. So one of the first programs I ever picked up was Flash, and I learned to design and to create animations and cartoons in Flash. And then, of course, Photoshop and AutoCAD, which I learned at university to create these architectural drawings. And this got me really excited about the concept of the internet. And I went on to build software, I went on to build technology and patented some products, and I had a series of very successful startups. And about 10 years ago, after I kind of been going crazy at it for 10 years, I kind of had to stop. And I had lots of people come around in my circle and say to me, look, you've been very successful, you've done very well, we want to do something, can you please help us? Can you teach us? Can you help us to get to the next stage? And I realized there were so many people out there that, just like there are right now in the NFT community, they see a new market, they see a new opportunity, and they're scared. They don't know how to get into it. They don't know how to understand it. They don't know how to integrate it into their life. So I started to help people in the background. I helped loads of people change their careers, to make products, to make companies, to get investment, to change their destiny, just by really changing their view on things. Now, something I didn't tell you is, since I was 4, I was actually on stage and dancing and singing in the UK. I was on TV from the age of 10. So I very much had an entertainment career as well. So about 5 years ago, I decided that all of this creativity that I had and all of this innovation and all those people that I knew that were out there, how could I put this all together and make a change in the world? So what we did is we set up a media and entertainment company. And we build TV shows and movies about amazing people, about creative, innovative, talented people. And we've created now a series of shows. We have a hit show on Amazon where I'm actually the host of it. It's called Tech Talk. Tech Talk now is in 83 countries. We have 500 million people watching it. We won last year 11 International Film Festival awards for it. And it's just been put onto the British curriculum to teach 8 to 13-year-olds about getting a technology and innovation and design, getting into that young and changing their destiny. We also joined the Tech She Can Charter with PwC, which is inspiring girls and females to get into innovation, because there's a big gap between the genders at the moment. So I know some people don't class themselves as a gender, but those who do, you know, and the way it's put down on the educational system, they see a big lack there. So they find that our content is so beneficial and makes such a change. So actually the people we put on the show, the undiscovered innovators we put on the show, have raised more than $350 million since we put the show up less than 2 years ago. So their lives have changed. We've seen massive impact and effect from the media that we create. And that's inspired me to create lots of different other things that we're doing at the moment. So just go back to how that, you know, how my creativity plays a part in that. So I'm called by my friends and family, apart from Future Surfer, the robot, because I don't eat. I eat when I can. I sleep maybe 3-4 hours a night. You can ask Artific. I'm always there to answer any time of the day. I'm a complete workaholic. I'm obsessed and I'm pedantic, and I probably have OCD, as you can see in these paintings, because they take a huge amount of effort to create and to get them right. So I always found design as the core of who I am, and I got excited by technology and innovation because that can change everything that we know right now. And this is really the bridge to the revolution of NFTs, which we're all seeing right now. So all of my artwork has technology and innovation in mind and integrated with it. So the collection that you see before you, and this is one particular collection, it's about 100, 120 pieces. It's a collection that I call the Emoji Renaissance collection. And I call it that because each of the paintings you see are made purely out of tens of thousands of emojis. Now, I have a process that I've built up to select the right color palettes, to align them, to put them on layers. It's an incredibly laborious task, but it's incredibly fulfilling when I create these pictures. And what I've done is I've actually written a very small piece of simple AI code that learns a bit as it goes along. And actually, I take the picture that I'm trying to use, I break it down into black and white, I put it into the AI program, and it helps me to see the linear makeup of where how I have to twist emojis to get around curves and stuff like that, because that was my biggest hurdle. So the paintings you see in front of you are a collaboration of me and the technology, or the robot, whatever you want to call it, right? Autonomous system, the AI, the computer, where actually it's taking a part to help me to make the creations, because I wouldn't be able to finish it without that help. And actually the next collection I'm working on is actually taking that a little bit further and seeing how we can actually get robotic beings to actually make those actions. So using autonomous devices, using autonomous systems to actually create with me at the same time. And that's kind of the next generation of this. So what you see in front of you is a selection of those paintings. It's very hard for you guys in the room to actually appreciate the pixel quality and the emoji quality on these screens, because they're screenshots and they're low quality. But if you go on OpenSea, or if you go on Rarible, you can definitely see them a little bit better. If you go on any of my social channels, you can see videos that I've actually taken of zooming in and zooming out. So that's the best way to see the finished final quality picture. And they're limited editions, one of one. There's only one of each of these. It takes me a huge amount of time to create them and to deliver them. I'm very pedantic, and you can see, so they have to be perfect for me, otherwise I don't put it down, and often work until 7 o'clock in the morning to do that. Some of the collection are animations, as you'll see, which I absolutely love, and I'm experimenting with them right now. I love motion, I love animation, it's a big part of everything I do. I'm just starting to integrate it into my artwork, and I really, really love it. And I think I'll probably stop for a second and let Artifix say something.
No, it's perfect, because it gave me actually time to make a couple of nice screenshots around the room. I also put into the text chat the link to the OpenSea collection. Actually, like behind you, there's the browser that you can use to browse. But if you go there, then you will not be able to hear us. It's like in real life. So that's cool, but maybe not so convenient. If you like, you can use your browser in another window, monitor, or what have you, and check the collection in more detail. That is maybe not possible in displays here, because there's a lot of those are the emojis, and there's like thousands of them. So it's difficult to put it in like simple browser application.
You have to, to be honest with you, even on the platforms, even on the NFT platforms, they're limited in the size of those graphics. Now, a lot of these graphics are much more than 2,000 pixels, some of them 3,000 to 6,000 pixels wide, right? Which is insane. All of these pictures have been future-proofed, because the next generation for us is, of course, all of us having screens on the wall of our houses. I actually interviewed on Tech Talk a company called Neo, who is, they're leagues ahead of us on this. They're the ones putting these big screens in buildings in New York and around the US and the world. These beautiful screens that have interactive artwork on it that interacts with nature or with you when you walk up to it. So I'm very into that, and all these pictures have been designed so they will actually be on your wall in your house and be of that quality, because you need to be able to walk away from it and see, wow, that's a beautiful eye. It has so much emotion. It makes me feel good, which is very important. But actually, when you walk up to the eye, the story that every section of the painting tells is completely different. And when you get to the paintings of the people, the lollipop girl that you have there, or you can see Michael Jordan or Oprah, or there's a few people on the collection you can see on OpenSea and actually on Rarible. And when you go up to them and you see what makes up their chin, what makes up their, his bicep on his arm, what makes up his head, and you see that with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, her head is made up of lightning clouds. I mean, it's just so cool. And that's actually the color I chose. But I love the metaphor that every section tells a different story when you're close up to these paintings.
And who chooses the emojis that are used? Is it you directly, or is it the algorithm?
No, that's me. So the algorithm, unfortunately, doesn't have a very compassionate way of choosing any of those things. That didn't work for me, and it actually caused a lot of problems. So all the algorithm does is, when I've chosen which emojis I'm going to use, it tells me the best way to align them so I get the shading effect that I want. So it doesn't actually do it. It just gives me a concept, and I have to really then work to follow that concept. So I'm still always painting it, but it without that, it would take me 5 times as long. I mean, I would be trial and error. So I have layers, I have color palettes that I've put all of the emojis into. Just like a painter, I go to my color palette, I decide which colors I need. I know my range of emojis. I know that the one I made of Paris Hilton, and she followed me afterwards, believe it or not, but the one I made of Paris Hilton, the colors I chose, I really like it, but sometimes I look back at it and I say, how did I even go for that? It doesn't even look right. But when you look at the painting together, it fits, if that makes it, gives the right shade.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's perfect combination how to do it, because I think if you like this sort of art, and there's not many artists that do it, but there are some, and there are artists that do like everything by themselves, every little emojis, and then either it's not many emojis there, or I seen one verse like 1 million. But then, and it's obviously just done by hand, but well, you can't place every emoji of 1 million in like perfect way. You just
Formation.
need to,
That's a really good point. So I told you before, I'm pedantic, right? I'm a perfectionist. So what's really important is that in my TV and media and my film, I'm known for being, they call me Deets, because I'm so tough on the details. I see every little pixel. But in these paintings, they're not meant to be perfect. That's why they give you the effect, but they're not. You don't see every square lined up perfectly. Otherwise, it would be stale. It wouldn't have life to it. So it's actually purposeful that it's not the computer chalking out every pink, because that's what the computer would do. It's very rigid, right? So it's hard to teach a computer to be creative. So it's really beneficial to me that I can keep my mental state by not having to put everything in a straight line, but still get these amazing pictures and effects. And not having to put them all straight, right? I don't think it would get the same effect.
Yeah, for sure. I think it would look, as you said, like a style or artificial, but this looks really sort of like random, like grains of sand in like a dune. So if they are not perfectly lined up, but still based on maybe like wind and other conditions, there's some sort of structure. This like nature when it's random, but not random at the same time.
So that's exactly what my next that I've almost finished this collection of 120, and I'm dropping them about 10 or 20 a week. But the next collection, which I'm actually working on, is interactive. So just like you said, right, you can go up to, and perhaps you'll breathe, and breathing in front of it will make it move, or so if it's, obviously that have to be in your house. But the fact that you can have human interaction, so perhaps it's sensing the wind change outside, and it's a changing affecting based on the wind. So I love that concept. I love the integration of technology with it. And so that's the stuff I'm working on at the moment for the next collection.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw the wave, and yeah, I was just it's amazing. It looks perfect. It's
Thank you.
really
It was so hard. It was so hard to get that falling effect, right? Which is, thank you so much for saying that. So the way to do it is really like an old animator that does it, and that's exactly how I do it. I start with one picture, and I do a frame, and I save it, and then I adapt it to the next picture, and it's a laborious process of placing the frames and then making it's a flat it's a flat frame, right? So there are like 60 frames, I think, in that the beach. I think the beach scene you're talking about, the water going over
yeah.
the sand, the water coming across the page. Yeah, there's another one of coloured smoke as well. It's called The Colour of Love. I really love them. There's a couple more of them coming out like that in the collection. I really love the animated ones. And they're very unique. I say they're one of one, so only one person will get to have it, which is really cool.
Yeah, well, I love the idea of that definitely that they are unique because well, in some artworks it doesn't have to be that way, but I think especially in these ones which has this concept of the randomness and non-randomness at the same time, it's yeah, it's really nice to have something that's just was created in a quite laborious process and cannot be duplicated. You can duplicate the reference, but you can't duplicate the token itself, which is well at least
It will
what
never be the same. I could never make that the same on another one. It would just be different because each move is a different, and I create it randomly. It's not like set out in advance. You're 100% right. I love the fact that they play continuously, and they could be, again, I'm future proofing it. I expect these to be on people's walls, so I want it to be on the wall of your building, and then to walk past, and it's always creating this wave effect, which is very calming, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I actually now put one of the pictures, and I will put the link here into the text chat as well into Twitch, where you can see the emojis. So I will put it here. And yeah, you don't if you don't have like too many screens, you don't worry about it. We will send some links after the show, so you can then look into it in more detail.
Yeah, so the hardest thing I had was displaying what you actually get to see on the sites before you buy it. How do I show the far and the close
Yeah.
of what you actually get in the picture? So what you were showing there was a close up of Michael Jordan's shirt, because I've done a few famous people, right? There's a Michael Jordan shirt, and it's made up of hamburgers and donuts and like just things that you wouldn't expect his shirt to be made of, right? Which I love it. It's just hilarious. Some people's noses, like what their noses are made of, when you see the shade from far away, it makes sense. But when you go up and see, like, oh my gosh, there's pigs in there and all sorts of weird stuff. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I would be actually quite interested if someone did some like neuroscan of what the person is thinking, if there are really some like subconscious uh, ideas going on based on the types of emojis that you put there. I think it would be really interesting to create maybe like two that would look very similar, but they would be using very different emojis. It's maybe
Yeah,
something that's looking
definitely
fun.
something I can try. Yeah. And I also, I'm very interested in these maybe hidden stories, hidden meaning. So that's also something I'm considering. Is actually a lot of them do have that, but they've been generated as part of my process, right? I didn't actually write those hidden meanings into there. But I'll give you a little comical one, for a joke. So yesterday was 420. So I thought to myself, what can I make for 420 for the people that want to celebrate? So I made a little bud of weed that rotates on a flat plane, and it's made out of emojis, and it's called Emoji Kush. So I put that yesterday on Rarible. Now, when I made it, I didn't realize that the center of some of the buds had a lot of different smileys, because a bud of weed has a lot of depth. So I had to show the yellow and the green and so on. So when it's spinning on the flat plane, it's hilarious. It looks like all of the rotation of all the faces of the feeling of smoking weed, right? All the states of feeling it. So it was hilarious that after making the animation, there really is a hidden meaning. If you zoom into that on the web browser and see the faces and how they form as they animate round and round, it's another story, right? And it tells you, what the weed, how it affects you by zooming in and seeing something. So I love that. I love the hidden and deeper meaning to them, and I think everybody seeing these will tell that they'll find something else and think something else about them.
Yeah, well, for one thing that comes into mind is that it could be for quite interesting to ask, for when we are talking about hidden meanings, and also for you talked about your life, how it wasn't always easy, and well, I think it's like a motivational story as itself. Do you see some sort of like hidden like message, or just that part of what you are, or for what you went through in your life is in this sort of art?
Absolutely, and I think that's evident in. Thank you for asking that. Thank you for your kind words. But it's absolutely the core of everything I do. And if you look at my personal Instagram, it says drive innovation and save the planet, be kind and help others, because that's really the core of who I am, and that's what I believe. And I have been through so many horrible situations. I wouldn't want to go through all of them. I'm not here to tell a sub story, but all of those, I would say, incredible situations have turned me into the person I am today, who very blessed and thankful that I have talents and abilities to be able to navigate these things and do them myself. I'm very humbled by the support from everybody around the world. The core of everything I do is making the world a better place. And I know that sounds like a Miss World answer, right? What would you like to do? I would like to save the planet, make the world a better place. But I really like, I truly do. And if you watch any of our TV and media, you'll walk away from it feeling inspired, motivated, positive. And these are things that don't really come out in media these days, right? They look on drama, they look at negativity, and a lot of stuff that's bad for society. So everything I do, especially my art, because my art is from my heart, is done to make the world a better place. So, I'm not the guy to put the gory picture of someone getting killed, or that's not my sort of art, right? My art, it should be enlightening. It should be enhancing your visibility in your gallery, in your home. It should be brightening your life. I would love you to go and see it, and every time discover something else. And that's the thing, with me, with art, right? I'm ADHD, right? So, I love art, but look at the same picture for 1,000 times. Can you be inspired by it the 1,001,000 first time you look at it again? So what I really, really love about this art, and again, it's emoji art, right? It's not like Picasso. I don't, put myself on the same thing. But what I like about it is the fact that that every time you look at it, or because they're so big, because you discover something else, you get a different sense. And that's what really, it keeps it fresh for me. It keeps telling different stories. It keeps it alive. And that's why I really, really like these.
Well, actually, the Picasso reference is, I think, quite interesting, because it's actually going or using the similar idea, right? Because the Picasso, or for the people that came after him, it's not just about using like different perspective, but also using different materials, right? And
Correct.
so you are using the material that's just everywhere where you can look currently.
That's
Everyone
that
is.
is it. That's kind of it. You got it exactly. It was like I'm using a digital currency because it's emojis, right? And we all know to kind of trade those to express things. And I think that using a single emoji on itself, or a few of them, will express something. But generally, apart from a couple of the artists you mentioned, not many people use them to form huge scenes or something like that. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. And a couple of people you pointed out to reference, and I think they're both wonderful. I think I know who you're talking about. One of them has a very different approach, right? It's to get a character, to get an empathy, a feeling of someone. I think he achieves that very well, but it's done in a much smaller format. It's very focused on that particular picture and the person, and I think they come out great, but they're using a much smaller amount of emojis, which I'd love to do. It would save me so much time. And I think the other person is trying to do, without, again, I think it's amazing stuff, but trying to do pictures that you already know and do those with emojis, which is also super cool. But for me, that's something that you know, and so what I'm trying to do, not to bad. Again, I think everybody's wonderful. What I'm trying to do is differentiate in the sense that my stuff is meant to be fresh. It's meant to be contemporary. It's meant to be technologically advanced, because actually I'm going to start to put invisible watermarks and things to protect them and stuff like that as I deliver them. But technologically advanced because I'm using AI as well. But I want to also capture that Renaissance, that traditional art, and that's what you just said here, which is great. Number one, I'll use as many formats as I can. I have multiple skills in different programs and so on, but I'll use as many as I can get to, and I'll collaborate with as many people as I can, because that keeps me fresh and excited. But I try to keep this, that's why I called it Emoji Renaissance Collection. The Emoji Renaissance Collection, because emoji is kind of like fun and simple, and Renaissance is very elaborate and very established, and all those artists that we've known for many decades. So the collaboration of those is this fresh approach that still creates these paintings which are vivid and good to see on the eye, but when you go up close to them, you've got all that humor, that fun, the pigs on the nose, all that kind of stuff that keeps it fresh and modern.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. And how did you thought about using the emojis? Because no, there are a couple of artists that are doing that, but I think when you started, it's probably wasn't no one, or I don't know. What was the initial impulse?
I wanted to make a collage. I wanted to create something that was more, like I said, hidden rather than being a flat image. The challenge for me is, how do you make digital art more impressive than a painting? Because a painting is a creation from a blank sheet, effectively, without any tools apart from your hands. So how do we make this more effective than what those geniuses did with their paintbrushes, and what some of us used to do as well, right? So the key for me was I needed to use a forum, a medium that had a color palette, that had those things. And I actually was searching, and I was thinking about different things I use. And if you ever text with me or on Discord or anything, I use a hell of a lot of emojis. I'm a passionate guy, right? So it comes with 3 or 4 emojis at the end of every sentence. And it's not because I'm a 12-year-old girl. It's because I just, I like to express myself, and I find the emojis do that. And I think I was talking about it with a friend of mine, and I was doing the emojis the whole time. And I was like, wait a minute, why don't I use those? And then I started doing some tests. And the first tests I'll never show anyone. They're terrible. And then I realized that you really had to be quite creative and if you look at my paintings, right, again, if you look at my TV and film work, it's pixel perfect, right? There's nothing overlapping or anything like that. But my artwork is the polar opposite of that. Somehow it's a formation of a collage of so many of them. And sometimes you'll say, well, there's 3 or 4 or 10 of them underneath something. You can't even see them. Why did you put them there? Because what I realized is when you put them on you have to layer. When you don't use this layering system, you just don't get this 3D vivid effect. And so it took some time to learn. I stumbled across it kind of brainstorming. It took some time really to get it right and to learn. But I'm, without blowing my own trumpet, I'm really pleased with the outcome. I'm actually super excited to keep doing it. I really don't sleep a lot because of this. Thanks, NFTs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that because the space is
Yeah.
crazy and everyone is trying to catch the train that's going so fast.
Yeah, I even it's not so much that I have to catch it, right? I hear that, and yeah, there is. It's not even so much I have to catch it. I'm just so freaking excited about this. I think it's so cool that when you give individuals, you give a level playing field to everybody, and this is a more of a level playing field because this is an unestablished market. All of the other markets in the world have been saturated, right? You're fighting with giants and big tech and big finance and everybody to get in, and if you're not one of those guys, the chances are very, very low. And this is a brand new market that's opened up and nobody really knows what's going on. And that's just so wonderful. And the amazing thing about it is there's community. People collaborate, people talk. Most of the people, I would say 95% of the people I've come across in the last few months on the NFT community are such nice, kind, empathetic, warm, interesting people. And that's really because they're creatives. And I am stoked about this space. We're actually gonna create an NFT documentary series because we need to tell the world about this. And I've got a series on AI, sustainability, female entrepreneurship, cannabis, tech, robotics. But we have to create one on this. It's fundamental that the greater public understand what this is that we're doing and the metaverse, and the fact that creative people can now just be creative and connect with the world and be appreciated for it on a real and a serious level.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's definitely still most of people never heard about it or just have a very wrong idea and information about what the NFTs and crypto sort of intertwined all together into a weird mix for a lot of people. So yeah, we for sure need some shows like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's I'm gonna put it together. I'm actually going to the guys at NFTS.tips is going to set up a clubhouse group next week, so we can actually invite the community in to talk about it and to help me and to actually put together an action committee, right, of people that are going to collaborate to help to get this done, so that for the community, for everybody's good, we can put this stuff out there on the mainstream TV networks and have the rest of the community understand, get involved, and be motivated by what we're doing.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, one thing, because I'm looking almost whole time at this robot, and one thing that I can just get, and I would like to ask you about it, is the green emoji that's there, and this like different places. It creates quite like, I think without it, it probably wouldn't be complete. But
Correct.
I don't know if I would be the
So,
one
so
creating it, if I would actually
right,
make the call.
right. So this is exactly the point I'm making. The art that you're seeing is so the opposite of like how I normally operate, which is so I love. It's so out of my comfort zone. So I would have normally done that, right? I would have normally just kept it very grey, very black. That's kind of my sort of thing. But what I realized is those really are the fundamental things. And I think those are frogs, right? If you zoom in, they're frogs, right? They're frogs. So there's frogs and there's traffic lights and, you know, all sorts of crazy things in there. And you're like, why does the guy have frogs around his face? But, you know, on all of the, you see also that's why I did some celebrity stuff, not because that's really my reference, my motivation, but because I wanted to show people stuff that they emoji renaissance style. So some of that stuff's fundamental. Like I actually drew a picture of what this would look like, and then I took some digital pictures and I did some reference. I did like a reference collage, and some of those things just realized that the faces are always cut off of all of these kind of guys that look so serious. But if you cut that off, it looks like a half face. So you have to construct the half of the face with kind of highlights. So I used these very strong colors, and actually, again, this was a trial and error, and I loved it. And I thought, because this guy is called the Blue-Eyed Spaceman, I thought that the green and the pink would really kind of ruin that blue color coming out of his eyes, but it totally enhanced it. And again, you would never think they're frogs until you kind of get up close, and you're like, what the hell? This alien bionic guy is made up of frogs and whatever, right?
Yeah, that's for sure a cool story. Yeah, and yeah, I think it was like some sort of weird green like smiley face. But yeah, if you look at it better, even in this resolution, you can see the frog face there. Yeah,
Correct. Very
okay.
cool stuff. So so the animations are cool. Everything you can see everything on OpenSea. It's called the the Emoji Renaissance collection. There are a couple of them on Rarible as well, under Future Sofa. So pleased that everybody came and hang around. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble on about my life.
Oh, yeah, I will ask you for 1 sec. Put mute
there.
Blake.
Yeah, that's better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess you don't have headphones, yeah, because then like Discord and these other tools, they are much more mature than like this Somnium Web, because it's just a couple of months old software. Actually, I mean this the web part of the world. So it doesn't have yet the echo cancellation. So we actually now can appreciate how this audio software went far, because we got used to not sorting out these things because AI is sorting it for us. But yeah, it's still there. So yeah, I actually wanted to ask one more question, and it's because you're coming with a lot of like business background. You've built a lot of companies, startups from ground up. You built teams, marketing, so you know how to do these things. And now a lot of artists are in position when they've there are these huge opportunities in NFT space, but they are actually asked to be not just artists, but also like agents, marketers, CEOs of their companies, like brand managers, and everything at once. And like obviously, they have no idea how to do that. So, what would you advise them?
Sure. That's a nice question. You're absolutely right. I think most people hear NFTs and they see a guy who made a digital picture and they're like, wow, he sold it for a load of money and I want that, right? And they think it sounds really simple in principle. But the world is huge and there's a lot of platforms, and the main platform is called OpenSea because it is really a sea. It's huge, right? So how are you going to get found? How are you going to get any collectors? How are you going to actually be successful? How are you going to do marketing? I didn't know. I know how to do all that stuff in the theoretical real world, but I didn't know that you needed to know that stuff here. So I came into the game. I was bringing my artwork, and I haven't even minted all my real existing artwork. I started making artwork, and I started working on it. And I was kind of like this guy in the middle of a big sea. And yeah, I might have some network in the real world from some different areas, but in this market, I'm me, and I have nothing. So I was reading around, I did a bit of research, and I realized from talking to people and doing some research that you have to build community. It's one of the most important things here. So how do you do that, guys? How do you connect with people, and what does it mean building community? You need a Twitter, and I wasn't a big Twitter lover beforehand. I don't love big tech. I wasn't a big Twitter lover, but I set up Twitter.
I think we lost you. No. Yeah, I will type in the message. Your audio. Yeah, let's give him a sec to come back to us. Because yeah, so just when it started to be interesting, really interesting, and some really cool information was about to be revealed, then we lost the audio. Well, it's not a trick. Let's hope he will be able to make it back. Okay, so far it's probably just me, so I will reload. Give me a sec. Just a second, guys. I'm loading because, yeah, as I said, this is like brand new soft. Yeah, I can see them talking. So
you've got to you're back, Artipeak.
yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry, for some reason it just broke down. Apparently everything is fine on your side, everything is wrong on my side. But
Correct.
because a ton of people are listening on Twitch and then on a recording, so yeah, sorry guys, I will have to ask you to repeat it again. Hello. Yeah, so far, well, it looks like it will remain a secret because I can't for some reason get this going. I just got the sound for a sec and then lost it again. So let's see first if third time is the charm. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, I was almost like saying, yeah, like this time we don't have any technical trouble. And yeah, it just can't happen that everything would go smoothly. Okay, what about now? Is still...
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't hear him though. He kind of lost. I don't know. I don't know what happened to Future Surfer.
Right. Yeah. So this time it's not on my side. Okay.
No, it's not your side. So let's discuss the connection meanwhile if you want. Or are we live on Twitch, by the way?
Yeah. We're still live there. Yeah, people were able to see all of that. So maybe let me... Yeah, we could actually go and take this browser for a show. So if you click on it and click on View in Word, and you will be able to see the collection of Future Surfer. And if you click on interacting, on interact, and it will say interacting, that you can just use the scroll button and browse the collection. Yeah, it's a bit light, but yeah, we will do that. And everyone has their own session, so you feel free to browse, interact with this software. Future Surfer, can you hear us now? Or more importantly, can we hear you? Still not?
I hear you, and I guess you can hear me now.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool. Are you looking at... Sorry about that. Technical problems as per usual.
Yeah. I was just saying to Twitch that I almost thought that we will make it this time without any trouble, but yeah,
never,
just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, exactly. No chance.
But
we have to... Sorry, go on.
We have you back, so that's awesome. So yeah, no, tell us the secret, because you just started to tell us the secret and then it just broke down. So
yeah, sorry, that's probably the worst time, isn't it? Everybody wants to know what to do. So look, I came into this industry. I have a lot of contacts in the traditional world, right, in the markets that I'm in. But this is a brand new industry to me, and I literally almost don't know anybody here. So I came into it. I just wanted to get my art out there. I was really excited that I can create and connect directly with fans and collectors and all sorts of people. It's super exciting for me because there's usually so many middlemen in the way. So how do you do it, right? I was creating art, I was minting it, I was putting it live, and I wasn't really getting much feedback because I wasn't connected to anyone. It's a massive market. It's a massive world. And as we create virtual worlds just like this and online platforms, it's only going to get deeper. So there is a secret that you need with the NFT world, and that is really being your own PR person. And that means that you need to use Twitter. You need to get on Twitter, you need to share your stuff, you need to connect with people, you need to do that a lot. You need to go on Discord, which is the gaming social media network. It's mainly for gamers, it's decentralized, so people like to talk on it. That's where you talk to people and learn about NFTs and crypto. You need to get on Instagram and you need to really, really push your art, you need to follow other people. And lastly, the real secret here, which is where it really changed for me, was when I got on Clubhouse. Now, I wasn't a big Twitter or a Clubhouse user generally. I wasn't really sold by them. I didn't find massive use for them. But in the NFT community, it's the way that you connect with everybody else. And everybody in this community is amazing. They're good people, they're kind. And not everybody, don't state me on that, but because you're dealing with creatives, 90% of the people I've come across were really, really good, kind people who just wanted to create stuff and make stuff and fulfill their art desires and their creative instinct. So they were very helpful. And because it's a new market, we're all on a level playing field. So it's a very exciting time, but you can't just make art. You can't just build a picture, draw one, do it on your computer, take one, take a photograph and stick it online and that's it. Some people can, but it's very unlikely that you'll succeed by that. You have to build a following. You have to build friends in the community. You have to build allies. You have to look at other people's work. You have to ask them to look at your work. You have to go into Clubhouse. You have to listen to what's the best way to make an NFT, which is the best platform, what's the next show coming out, what's somebody else done. You have to listen. If you don't do that, you can't just create and be in your own bubble. So the thing I would implore everybody else to do is to go on Clubhouse, type in NFT, look for a few groups, go in and listen to people. There's a great group, it's called NFTS.tips. That group in Clubhouse, I think they also have the website, NFTS.tips. Those guys are the friendliest, nicest guys. They're like, they're all tech geeks, right? They all get it. They know how to do the stuff. You can throw them a question. They'll give you guidance. I'm often on there and you'll get people coming in and saying, I don't know if I should do it. I'm scared to do my first one. And these guys will give you even the inner confidence about your work and your self-confidence that you need to develop, because they truly believe it. They'll look at the work and they'll say how fantastic, and they'll give you the strength that you need to do it. So community is a very big part of this. And actually, it's a virtual community, right? It's not like you have to have them all over for dinner every evening and you have to change your friend circle. But you have to connect with people in the industry. You have to get your word out there. It's a very word of mouth, sharing, retweeting, reposting kind of industry. And that for me was a big, big game changer. And I'm very thankful. Like a few months later, I now have people constantly inviting me to Clubhouse groups, to talk, to be a moderator, to get involved in other conversations, to collab with people. And then people are also sharing my work. When I'm posting it, they're retweeting it, they're commenting on it. And that kind of virality is what helps you to get more known. And of course, lastly, I shouldn't not give thanks and gratitude to Artific, who came to me and said, actually, he has on his profile on Twitter that says, I'm in the NFT community, I'm experienced. If you need help, reach out. It's just like what my Instagram says. It has helped people, be kind to others. There was Artific, and he said, if you need help, reach out. So I'm not the sort of guy to ask for help, right? I usually just find a way to do it. It's too slow asking for help. But in this case, I was like, I'll ask him. What have I got to lose? So I reached out to him. Super nice dude. You know what he said to me? He said to me, your work's so good. Why don't I put on a gallery event? I'll do marketing for it. You can come in a virtual space and see your artwork. I didn't even consider this concept. And this for me was a game changer. And this was just one kind dude that I found in the industry. And there's lots of people like that. And of course you can collaborate with him as well. But there's lots of people who are great like him that are also with a similar kind of concept. And a way to do it is, it's great to see your paintings on the wall, right? It's great. Why are we all standing here in a virtual world? Because there's no other. If I talk to you about this in a Zoom room, I mean, how are you going to see my paintings? Well, I'm going to put them on screen. It doesn't have the same feeling. So walking about the room here and seeing them on the screen, seeing them on the walls is fabulous. And of course, he's going to leave this up for a week now, right? You can come back and see it. You can put it like in. I can't wait. My dream is that these will really go to somewhere, to places that people really put them on their walls and really enjoy them. But so this is the end result that I want to see, and it's great for me to be able to show this to you. And community. You need something, you've got a question, ask me. I'm happy to try to give you a direction. I don't know everything. If not, go somewhere else. I think you'll find people are quite open, and we're all just trying together to find out what's the best way to make this a success for everyone.
Awesome. I think it was wonderful advice. It's very similar to what I'm giving people that are asking that. So there's probably some truth about that.
I learned it just like you did. So we were learning. So
yeah, and also for like what I discovered in like interacting in social media, that it's not about just like spamming your message out there. And just like shilling your art, but really more about creating meaningful relationships with people. Or
100%.
Yeah.
100%. You're 100% right on that. There's no point if you want to go spamming people are actually going to ignore you. That's not the way to do it. You have to. It's okay you can add as many people as you want, but if you start sending out, block messages to tons of people, that's not the way. You have to actually see people's work you like, hear them talk about it in a clubhouse. Really find scenarios that really help you or inspire you, and then just reach out and say, "Oh, that was cool. I'm interested." But real, meaningful relationships, exactly as Artific said. And I have made so many friends, and they're really good people. And you know what? Some of those friends last night bought my work. Right? That's the type of friends they are. So the community is very, very supportive of each other. So. There are people gifting work, and I've gifted stuff to people as well. And there are people gifting work and buying off each other, really supporting it. So it's an amazing industry. Don't spam people. That's not a bad way to do it. But be yourself, just like you would if you went to a party and you sat down with someone, you wanted to know some advice or speak to them. Do the same thing. It's virtual. This is Black Mirror. This is the way it's all going anyway.
Dark end of motivation.
Sorry about that.
No, I think it's cool. Okay, so we've definitely spent a lot of time talking. So now maybe let's go quickly through the individual paintings. So you can tell us a little bit about that, but we already did
Sure.
but let's focus on that a little bit.
I won't take too long because I'm sure everybody seen them, and there's only 4 here, but there's many more you can see online and on my social media, which is futuresurfer_art, or future, which is Instagram futuresurfer_art, or Twitter future_surfer. But basically, the paintings are made to look very, very vivid from far away. So let's take the eye, for instance, very, very vivid from far away. If you could turn around, if you don't mind. I know you're facing it there. Right? That's cool. So the eye, you can see these colors. You see it looks like a beautiful shaded eye. And when you actually walk up to that eye, as I said before, there are pianos and panda bears and all sorts of really, really crazy black and white icons and emojis that you'd never expect there to be. And when you look at the eye from far away, you would never expect there to be the emojis there. And when you go up close and see the emojis, you would never expect the eye to be there. And for me, that's really the concept. Like I said before, hidden meanings, multiple expressions of the same paintings, being far, being close, being up front. And now I'm actually integrating sound and audio and animation with them. So it's really about this sense of feeling that they give you. This has always been my expression in my art, is what feeling does it give you when you're staring at it? And then I like the feeling that changes as you go close to it and as you discover new sorts of things. So here you have the eye. It's called the eye of the beholder, because of course the saying is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So this is the eye of the beholder because we see beauty in her eye, which I really love. The picture you're seeing on the right is called Lollipop Girl. It's actually one of the highest priced ones in my collection, really because of my affinity to the artwork and what it means to me. Reminds me of somebody very special, and took me a huge amount of work. Absolutely love this painting. Again, her chest is made up of lightning clouds and all sorts of crazy things that you can see when you go up and look at the real piece. But she just looks so, I like the style. She's very cool. She's very hip. She kind of has this look of I don't really care in her eyes. I love this. I love the green hair. It's very rebellious, and I like that feeling from it. So that one actually sits on my Rarible account. I probably sit there for a while because I'm in love with it. If you just spin around, I started to do planets, space, aliens, because I'm obviously fascinated by all of this. I'm fascinated by rockets, I'm fascinated by robots, by technology, by AI, by bionic beings. So there's a lot of robots and bionic beings in my artwork. There's a lot of space travel. There's a lot of things that associate with those things because I'm very interested in it. So very similar, they all have this far up, close up, different feeling. Every single picture is unique. Everyone is different. They're all one of one limited editions. I'll never do the same painting again. I don't have that personality anyway. I'm always creating something different. So these are really unique pieces that people keep, and there'll never be anything like it. And there's a lot more of them. So there's about 20, 25 more of them that you can see on OpenSea. There's 2 or 3 on Rarible, and I'll start to drop around 10 to 20 of them per week until there's about 100 of them out there. That'll be the collection.
Awesome. So I would still, we are a little bit more. We are taking more time than I was originally expecting, but
I talk way too much. Yeah, I talk way too much.
But it's great because I think a lot of we still have people in Twitch. No one left. Only one that left was Blake that really needed to go. So
no problem. He's been very supportive though. Anyway, so it's all good.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. So what I would like still let people ask their questions if they have some. I think we've went through a lot of stuff, but
Sure.
if anyone have any questions on Twitch, I can see you writing. So feel free to write them, or currently we have here NFTech. So if you want to ask some questions, just unmute yourself and fire away.
Sure. So yeah, I really like. First, I wanted to say you have a great idea. I really like. Also, I was going to ask before your emoticons. Why did you pick emoticons? So I want to dig into this a bit more.
Sure.
You said you picked the emoticon just because it was a great way to express yourself, but you see in your paintings you have just so many of them. So how do you conceive this? Do you think you pick each emoticon specifically for the painting or specifically for such and such color? Or you see, I would like to understand more
Sure.
your affinity regarding this.
So I created color charts that actually have all of them in a rainbow color chart, right? As you would do.
Each of them.
Yes, sorry. I have my own color charts that I've generated that are guides that help me to choose the colors. So I take a concept. I then use usually something like black dollar bills or black S's or something like that, and I do an outline as you would do on a canvas, right? You do some pencil drawing to kind of give yourself a guideline, and then I would get a shape that's right for me. And then I kind of put a layer on, so I put maybe the background layer or something like a base layer, same way as I would when I'm painting. It's very much taking my painting concept into emojis, so I almost don't look at them as emojis. For me, it's just a color palette. And then when I get to the final layer, which are really the stuff you're seeing on the top, then I start to be a little bit.
That's when you add the
Yeah,
dogs.
exactly. That's when I kind of a little bit funky or funny, or and a lot of the people like I did a custom one for a really amazing talented entrepreneur, and I think in both her eye pupils are aliens. Right, and when you look at the picture from like purple aliens, when you look at the picture from far away, you can't see those, right? And her face looks incredible. It's almost like a stained glass window, the way that her face is, right? It's so cool. But then you get close up, and there's like two aliens on her eyebrow. There's like a couple of these little angels, you know, with the halo over their head. Like you get a story about her character. And actually, when she saw it from far away, she was like, "Oh, you know, that was cool." She wasn't as enthusiastic as when she got it, because I was trying to send her pictures online. And then she got it, and she hasn't stopped like, "Wow, it's incredible! It's amazing, the detail! I can't believe." Because when you see the stuff up close, there's such a story. So it's a layer. I start off with the colors. I know which colors I'm using, so I know which sections of the color palette I'm using. I then base it as in black lines, right, and set out some structure, then move it around until I'm happy with it. And I'm doing this layer by layer. So I'm usually duplicating many layers at once and moving them around. But I get myself curves and straight lines and stuff like that. Then I just start painting. It's literally just like that. It's not more intelligent than that. Apart from the AI program, that when I'm confused about some of the, like, how do you get the depth, right? It's hard using emojis to do contour lines and shading and stuff like that. So I had to kind of teach myself it, and the code taught itself it. So we're kind of learning together, and we've kind of got better, and that's been a very exciting part of it as well.
Do you pick your emojis for each piece, or do you have like a selection that you use for about everything, and just you select for the last layers which one you really want to see appear?
Correct. I use all of them generally, because with every painting there is different levels of shade. So often you're going to have to use quite a lot of them. Like you're going to have to use a big range of them, because otherwise you're not going to be able. It's going so that the other people that Artific
enough,
the one that Artific was alluding to some other artists before. When you look at theirs, there isn't as much depth to it. And for me, these paintings still have all the depth that you would have in a painting when you're standing. Look at the eye, for instance. There's so much shading. They're all just basic emojis, right? There's nothing special about those emojis. But when you cascade them, and when you have to put loads of them, if you don't, it looks very flat. So I use a big range of them. There's often things in there that I have to test. I have to throw in things and see. I have to stand back from the painting and see how it looks, right? Otherwise, I can't see too close to the screen. But I'm always zooming in and out of it. And I'd love a much bigger terminal to work on. It'd be a lot easier. But yeah, it's a long process, but really, really, really fun, the results, and for that I work for.
So, but can I just ask a last one? Is that
Sure.
so I know you're already like a professional in other eras and areas, sorry, and you get like revenues and all. Myself, I took this job as a main job like about 1 month and a half ago, and I slowed down on other activities. Do you think you could do the same? Do you think you could like live out of your arts too, being an NFT artist, and if so, when?
Such a great question. So, number one is I'm a bit of a nutcase. I'm a multitasker. I have ADHD, so I'm always doing many things at once. I always have been. My brother and sister.
NFT is full of ADHD, man.
Right, of course. Yeah, of course. My brother and sister used to call me a Frank Abagnale from Catch Me If You Can, because I literally did everything when I was young. I did everything, right? I worked in a hospital. I worked in the accounting. I worked in the advertising. I did everything, right? Number one is I'm capable of doing multiple things at once. I always have been. I'm fortunate for that. Not everybody can do that. Number two, the question is a great question, because over the last 2 months, I've probably spent a lot more time in the NFT world than I have in my traditional ones. It's addictive. It's very inspiring. It's a change in the world. I don't think everybody really fully understands it. Like, what is this property that we're in Somnium Space, and how is it so expensive, the land that we're standing on right now? All of these stupid things, right? But the world is changing, and I feel that I'm being drawn into this industry. So we're already going to create a TV series on the NFT industry because I want to fuel it and push it forwards. I see myself spending a considerable amount of time here. It's really depending on how my art is received to whether this will be a bigger portion of what I do in the future. I pray it will be, right? It's my dream. What if I can create and be creative on a daily basis without the constraints of the media industry or whatever it is. I love that more than anything. But it's about process and how things will go. I'm hopeful. I hope it will go well. But good question.
Thanks a lot for your feedback.
No worries. Thanks for the interest. Thanks for staying so long. Definitely owe you a drink.
Okay, so thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Future Surfer, for showing us this wonderful collection and spending time with us and sharing your insights. I think it's a wonderful inspiration for everyone in the space. That many people have difficult lives, difficult beginnings, but it's not easy to just make a lemonade from that citron, but people can do it, and I believe that if others can do it, then and I can do it, and maybe if you can do it as well. So I take as great honor to interview artists like you, and we have basically every artist that I talked to had some rags to riches, or not to riches and in like money, but to be able to do what they love.
Tragic story, yeah. Some tragedy or some story that really have adversity in their life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll leave you on one saying, one quote that's very, very, very close to my heart. It's by Winston Churchill, and he said, "Never, never, never give up." And that's literally kind of my mentality. Everything I've ever made was new and different, and I had to kind of convince people, and they didn't know what it was. Most of when I got in this industry, no one really got what my art was. They were like, they didn't see the emojis, they didn't really care. So it's an effort to educate people what you're doing, and when they realize, oh, that's really cool, they didn't realize. So never give up, never give in, keep trying, and don't be scared of failure, right? Because if you fail, you're just going to know better next time how to do it. So failure is actually just one step closer to success.
Yeah, and with this wonderful quote, wonderful story, we close this stream. So thank you very much and have a nice day. Goodbye.
Thank you so much to you, Artific.
Bye-bye. Have a nice day.